all eyes on Tanjung Piai by-election as polling date set for 16th November. Finance Ministry ex-officer faces corruption, cheating charges. Thanks for joining me, Renee Fong, on the evening edition of News on 2. Polling for the Tanjung Piai parliamentary seat will be held on Saturday, 16th November, with nomination day on 2nd November, while early voting was set for 12th November. The announcement was made by Election Commission EC Chairman Dato' Azhar Azizan Harun after a meeting at the EC headquarters in Putrajaya.
2019 hari ini hari Selasa.
Dato' Azhar also said postal voting is open for registration from today and will be closed on 31st October.
SPA akan menggunakan Dewan Jubli Intan Sultan Ibrahim Pontian sebagai pusat penamaan calon dan pusat penjumlahan rasmi undi. Seramai 1,019 orang petugas dilantik bagi mengendalikan proses PRK P165 Tanjung Piai. Manakala sebanyak 28 buah pusat mengundi yang mengandungi kesemuanya 127 saluran akan digunakan untuk kemudahan pengundi. PRK ini dianggarkan memerlukan peruntungan sebanyak 2.67 juta.
Dato' Azhar said the electoral roll to be used would be the one up to the second quarter of 2019 and updated till 23rd September, adding that a total of 52,986 registered voters were eligible to vote for the by-election. The seat, which was created in the 2003 redelineation exercise, fell vacant following the sudden death of its incumbent, Dato' Dr. Mat Farid Mat Rafiq, on 21st September. In the related development, Dato' Azhar said 18-year-old voters are not eligible to vote during the by-election as the law related to it has not been gazetted yet.
Mereka tidak boleh mengundi kerana itu belum dikuatkuasakan pelaksanaannya.
Earlier, the Election Commission said it will hold discussions soon with political party representatives, including the opposition, to decide on whether 18-year-old candidates can be allowed to stand in the upcoming by-election for the Tanjung Piai parliamentary seat. Dato' Azhar noted that following the engagement with the representatives on the matter, an announcement would be made. One Malaysia development, Berhad's 1MDB loans needed the approval of former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak. Ex-1MDB Chief Executive Officer CEO Datuk Shahrul Azral Ibrahim Halmi told the High Court today that Datuk Seri Najib's approval was needed for the $250 million loan obtained by 1MDB Energy Holdings Limited, a unit of 1MDB. Datuk Shahrul said the ex-premier's approval was also needed for another $975 million loan, which was to be used for the buyback of options granted to Abu Dhabi-based Abar Investments PJS Limited in 2012. Datuk Shahrul was testifying today before High Court Judge Colin Lawrence Sequeira during Datuk Seri Najib's trial involving 1MDB money. According to Datuk Shahrul, who was responding to the Senior Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Seri Gopal Sri Ram's questions, this was ahead of 1MDB Energy's planned initial public offering, which eventually fell through. He said the approval to take on these loans was given by Datuk Seri Najib as the shareholder of 1MDB, and also on behalf of Minister of Finance. Datuk Sri Ram had asked the witness on transactions that involved the borrowing of money by 1MDB and whether these transactions could be pushed through without Datuk Sri Najib's authority. Datuk Sri Ram concluded Datuk Shahrul's examination in chief today. The hearing will resume on Monday. A former Finance Ministry officer at the Deputy Secretary General's office was charged with soliciting and receiving graft last year. Rohaya Sabut pleaded not guilty at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court to 3 charges of corruption and 2 alternative charges of cheating related to a sale of a government property in Hong Kong in 2018. The charges were read before Sessions Court Judge Azman Ahmad. According to the charges, she allegedly solicited 3 million ringgit from Allied Vantage International Group AVIG Limited Representative Wan Muhammad Wan Yusof. The money would act as an inducement for her to assist AVIG in winning a tender to buy Malaysian government property at Gloucester Road in Hong Kong. She was also charged with accepting 53,000 ringgit in stages from the same person over the same project. The offence falls under Section 16, Subsection A, Subsection B of the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Act 2009, punishable under Section 24, Subsection 1 of the same Act, which carries maximum 20 years imprisonment, and a fine of not less than 5 times the sum of gratification or 10,000 ringgit, whichever higher. Rohaya was also slapped with 2 alternative charges for cheating the same person to hand over the money, where she was charged under Section 420 of the Penal Code, which carries a maximum 10 years imprisonment, whipping and a fine. The case was conducted by MACC Deputy Public Prosecutor Xander Lim Wai Kong. The court set the bail at 30,000 ringgit in one surety and ordered the accused to surrender her passport to the court. The court also fixed 29th October for mention. Police have called in 8 individuals to give their statements in connection to a video recording which went viral showing a group of people who refused to stand up when the national anthem Negaraku was played at an event in Kuching, Sarawak. The State Deputy Police Chief Commissioner Datuk Dev Kumar, however, said none of them were detained after their statements were recorded. Elaborating further, Datuk Dev said, based on the report, police started an investigation under Section 8, Subsection 3 of the National Anthem Act 1968. According to a report by a local portal, the action by the individuals was a show of protest over the federal government's allegedly unkept promises to the state. The 22-second video was believed to have been recorded at a dinner event last week before it was uploaded onto Facebook and shared on more than 4,000 accounts. The Ministry of Water, Land and Natural Resources views the brutal killing of a pygmy elephant in Sungai Udin, Dumpas, Kalabakan, Tawau, Sabah last Thursday seriously. In this regard, the Ministry, in cooperation with the Royal Malaysia Police PDRM, would assist the Sabah Wildlife Department SWD in conducting investigations and tracking down the poachers, as this case involved firearms and was a serious crime. In a statement released regarding the matter, the ministry said the State Wildlife Department cooperation with the PDRM will be further strengthened in the future by adopting the model of joint action force between the police and the Department of Wildlife and National Parks, Pahilitan, and other enforcement agencies to prevent such crime from recurring in the future. The pygmy elephants, Bornean pygmy elephant, are fully protected species under Scheduled 1 of the Sabah Wildlife Conservation Enactment 1997, and those involved could be prosecuted. Those with information about the incident have been urged to contact the Wildlife Department to assist in its investigation. Last Thursday, a group of anglers found the carcass of the pygmy elephants in Sungai Udin, Dumpas in Kalabakan near Tawau, believed to have been dead for 3 to 4 days. The female elephant, estimated to be between 11 and 12 years old with a height of 1.8 meter, was found slumped near the riverbank. An initial inspection by a Wildlife Department team found gunshot wounds on the animal's cheeks, head, body and back. The Water, Land and Natural Resources Ministry planned to review the Water Services Industry Act 2006 WASIA to allow stricter enforcement on any party that contaminate water resources. Its minister, Dr. Xavier Jayakumar, said after almost 20 years, the punishment under the law needed to be looked at, as it is not strict enough when it comes to taking action against unscrupulous parties that contaminate water resources. However, Dr. Xavier said thorough studies needed to be done before any amendment can be made to the Act, and it is expected to be tabled in Parliament by the end of next year.
If you're caught, you're going to pay a heavy price for what you are doing, and I've instructed both Indawater and SPUN now to be more deterrent, more severe in their investigations and also the enforcement on the ground. 10,000 ringgit is not punishment enough, I think, and jail term is also not, 1 year is not enough. I would think about increasing all those two aspects more, and also immediate close down of the factories which have polluted the water sources.
The minister also said industry players should support the government in addressing the problem of water pollution by managing their waste in accordance with regulations. Dr. Xavier was speaking after launching the 2019 Malaysia International Water Convention in MITEC, Kuala Lumpur. More than 500 industry players from all over the world took part in the convention, themed Advancing Innovation, Embracing Transformation and Securing the Future. All agencies involved in the coming flood season are ready and on standby. This, according to the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, was in preparation for the seasonal monsoon wind change, which is expected to continue until early November. NADMA's Deputy Director General of Operation Implementation Sector, Zakaria Shaban, gave his assurance that NADMA will ensure that all relevant agencies on disaster management are well prepared during the northeast monsoon season. He added that NADMA has and will continue with its program to train local communities, apart from raising awareness on the need to be well prepared. NADMA has also arranged for temporary relief shelters involving almost 5,000 of them, which are able to cater to more than 1.6 million evacuees. The Malaysian Meteorological Department, Met Malaysia, said the monsoon transition phase began on 24th September and will last until the beginning of November, marking the end of the southwest monsoon period, which began on 6 May. During this phase, thunderstorms are expected along with heavy downpours, and strong winds are expected during the evening and night in the west coast and interior areas of Peninsular Malaysia, the west coast of Sabah and Central Sarawak, as well as its west coast. The registration process for foreign digital service providers with the Royal Malaysian Customs Department has begun today in preparation for next year's implementation of digital service tax. Deputy Finance Minister Dato' Amiruddin Hamzah said the ministry was confident that foreign companies would cooperate and register to safeguard their reputation.
People keep asking us whether, people who's operating overseas will voluntarily register with us and pay. The big names, without having to say who they are, the big names, I think it will be something detrimental to their image. If, we just declare that, we've got this digital tax which comes into place in our country and the big boys are not abiding by it. So it will be bad for them, bad publicity for them, and we are quite sure as they are responsible corporate players in other countries, they will also be similarly responsible to pay their dues in Malaysia.
He was met after opening tax awareness camp in Bangi. Dato' Amiruddin also said the registration by foreign digital service providers that meet certain criteria outlined by the Royal Malaysian Customs Department is important, adding it would enable them to continue to provide services to Malaysian consumers following the introduction of the tax. The government is planning to impose a digital service tax of 6% on foreign digital service providers beginning 1st January 2020. The upcoming Malaysian Association of Tour and Travel Agents MATA Fair Penang 2019 will be offering up to 30% discount on business and economy class tickets to all Malaysia Airlines destinations. MATA Honorary Secretary General Nigel Wong said this today after announcing Malaysia Airlines as the official airline for MATA Fair Penang 2019. According to Wong, about 35,000 visitors are expected to attend MATA Fair Penang 2019, scheduled from 11th to 13th October at the Setiap Spice Arena.
We will also be having about close to 300 exhibitors. So our halls are filled up to capacity. There is a waiting list. So this fair is going to be bigger and better than ever.
Meanwhile, Malaysia Airlines head of sales Roslan Ismail said the airline was ready to bring in inbound tourists that were expected to reach 30 million arrivals during the Visit Malaysia year 2020. He said currently the national carrier flies to 1,000 destinations across 150 countries and have access to over 650 airport lounges worldwide. CIMB Group Holdings Berhad has launched a financing facility for small and medium enterprises (SMEs) to buy and install equipment related to renewable energy technologies. Group Chief Executive Officer Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Aziz said the facility, which has no size limit, is part of the bank's recently issued $680 million or 2.85 billion ringgit Formosa and Sustainable Development Goals SDG bond. Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul said the bond is issued to fund projects related to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. Speaking on the sidelines of the CIMB Cooler Earth Sustainability Summit today, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul said the bond is a 100% facility and CIMB will look at applications on a case-by-case basis as long as they meet the requirements.
We're launching it now because it's part of our initiative to encourage more companies to be more who have a sustainability agenda, right? We have done this in many forms before, for consumer especially. For example, we have offer a lower rate for hybrid cars, and then for GBI houses and buildings, we also give lower rates. So this is to encourage people to take sustainability issues seriously, and also to make it more commercially viable for them.
The financing facility was launched in conjunction with the event. Meanwhile, Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul hoped the government could provide some tax incentives in the upcoming 2020 budget, especially for companies contributing and raising finance towards sustainability initiatives. The 2020 budget will be tabled in Parliament on 11th October. The Johor State Government hopes to receive higher fund allocation in the upcoming 2020 budget that will be tabled in Parliament soon. The extra allocation of funds will allow Johor to boost the state's economy and ensure the prosperity of all communities, especially the low-income group B40. Johor Menteri Besar Datuk Dr. Shahruddin Jamal said the extra funds from the federal government could help Johor to develop the state's infrastructure, as Johor will be hosting the Malaysian Games Sukma 2020, as well as promoting Visit Johor Year in 2020 through various programs. He also said Johor should receive the much-needed allocation, as the state is also one of the main contributors of Malaysia's economic growth, with 136.5 billion ringgit of the gross domestic product (GDP).
Kos yang tinggi, so diharap kerajaan persekutuan dapat membantu kita lah dan memberi peruntukan yang lebih. Kerana Johor juga merupakan antara penyumbang terbesar KDNK, kemudian Johor juga merupakan penyumbang terbesar dalam kita punya income tax, maknanya lembaga hasil dalam negeri, kita punya kutipan negeri Johor antara yang terbesar lah. So diharapkan kerajaan federal dapat memberi bajet yang lebih lah.
The Menteri Besar said this to reporters after launching the Islamic Finance Rendezvous series program in Johor Bahru. He also said that Johor remains committed and consistent in supporting the nation's economic development. With only 60 days to the SEA Games in Philippines, the Malaysia Canoe Association MASCA has encountered a major setback when its traditional boat race captain, Adam Aris, withdrew from the competition. Adam, who was also selected to represent the country in the Kayak MK1 1,000 meters event, made the shocking announcement at a Team Malaysia media conference at the National Sports Council, NSC. The 27-year-old athlete said he was forced to make the decision after being turned off by the crisis in MASCA involving the different opinions between its president, Datuk Sri Megat D. Shahriman Zaharuddin, and the Exco enlisting the athletes and team manager to SEA Games.
Kami sebagai atlet, saya cakap berdasarkan saya sebagai seorang atlet, memang agak keliru dan kami terganggu. Kami terganggu dari segi mental dan juga fizikal, persiapan kami. Perancangan kami untuk training ke luar negara, China, 2 bulan, sebulan, semua terjejas. Semua pending, semua terjejas. Dan saya pun tak tahu nak cakap apa. Sebabnya perkara ni sendiri datang daripada dalaman sendiri. Daripada persatuan sendiri, daripada Datuk Presiden sendiri. Jadi secara keseluruhan saya boleh cakapkan persiapan kami agak terganggu.
According to Adam, more of his teammates will be following his footsteps if the Olympic Council of Malaysia OCM did not make a decision soon on the list of officers, team manager sent by Datuk Sri Megat. Adam claimed the athlete selected by the Exco was the final list after several selection sessions were held according to proper procedures, but Datuk Sri Megat's decision had jeopardized all preparations and plans for the team. And that concludes this evening's News on 2. In our top story, all eyes on Tanjung Piai by-election as polling date set for 16th November. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for more updates. Till then, I'm Renee Fong. Have a pleasant evening.